Hi folks, this is Vicki at patternprincess.com. Today I want to show you this absolutely stunning stitch. This is called the Celtic Weave. Hopefully you can see it here. I've used a variegated yarn for this. This is a blanket pattern that I'm working on. I'm about halfway done with it. I am still in the process. This is some of the yarn that I have left of one of the skeins. What I'm using here today for this blanket is Mandala. It's by Lion brand. And it's in the color Moomba. I think it's going to be 5 skeins of it. I'm not done with it yet. I'm still working on it. But I wanted to show you how to do this stitch itself for the Celtic Weave, because it's been on my bucket list for a long time. It's a 2-row repeat, and there are other patterns I want to make from it. So I just want to show you how to do the stitch pattern itself. So I'm going to get some yarn here and we're going to get going. Okay, this pattern, for the sample, I'm using Karen 1 pound. And I don't remember the color. And I'm using an I size hook today because that just happens to be what I've had, 5.5 millimeter. And this one is a hook from Furls. So I've done a chain already of 20. Your initial chain needs to be divisible by 4. So it's working in multiples of 4 is where you begin your foundation chains row. Now for row 1, we're just going to do a row of double crochets. So in the 4th chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this one right here, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, come through 2 loops, and yarn over, go through the next 2 loops. So do that one more time, yarn over, insert our hook, draw it through, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, and yarn over, draw through 2 loops. So we're going to continue to work the double crochet all the way across. And you can stay with me, or you can use the timestamps in the description area to get to row 2. The pattern is a repeat of rows 2 and 3. Okay, and we're almost halfway done. So I'll just quickly finish row 1 here. But I just absolutely love the basket weave look to this stitch, and it's really neat how it's done. There are a couple of different patterns that I'd seen and tried, and this one that I'm showing you is the one that rang true to me for being able to do it pretty easy. I would still say that this is an intermediate type of pattern. Okay, so we're in the last stitch, so we just double crochets for the very first row. So this is the first row, all set to go. And then we're going to turn it and we're going to work on row 2. Okay, so for row 2, we're going to start with a chain 3, which is going to count as a double crochet. There's my chain 3. So because that counts as a double crochet, that counts as our first stitch right here. Okay, so that's already taken care of. So we're going to skip the next 2 stitches. So we're going to skip this first stitch is done. We're going to skip this stitch and skip that stitch. In the next stitch, we're going to do a front post treble crochet. So we're going to yarn over twice. So these are our these are the posts of the stitches. Okay. So in our 3rd stitch, we're going to work and we're going to go in front of this post, behind the post, and in front of the other one, and work a front post treble crochet. So we've inserted our hook, yarned over, we're going to pull it through 2 loops, yarn over, pull it through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull it through 2 loops. That's a front post treble crochet. We're going to do another front post treble crochet in the next stitch. Yarn over twice and insert our hook from front to back, you might say, and then back to front again. Yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the skip stitches. So these stitches here that we skipped, we're going to go back and we're going to do front post treble crochets, but we're going to start with this one. Remember, this first stitch here was taken care of by the first chain 3. So we're going to yarn over twice, and now we're going back to this one. So go back here and don't make your stitches real tight. Kind of pull up a little bit. Yarn over, come through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. Yarn over twice. Now we have this other one, the second stitch that we skipped, or the 3rd stitch of the row right here. Can you see that if I get my fingers out of the way? This stitch right here. So we're going to insert our hook from the front to the back, come around behind it, yarn over, and bring our yarn through, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. So it's a little bit bulky and funny looking right now, but it's going to all start to take shape. So we're starting to make a crisscross. Okay, do you see that? We're starting to make a crisscross. So now we have already worked these 2 stitches, right? Because we skipped these 2 stitches, we worked these 2 stitches, and then we went back to these 2 stitches. Okay, so now what we have to do is skip these stitches here because we've worked on them already. We skip these 2 stitches because we're going to come back to them. So we got to go all the way over to these 2 stitches. So yarn over twice. Remember, skip these stitches. These 2 already were worked, and we're going to go to this one here and do a front post treble crochet. Oh, it would help if my yarn didn't come apart. Hang on, we're going to save it. No, maybe not. It's a little bit loose right now. Okay, hang on. Do it again. 1, 2. And there's my stitch. Still stuck up. Here we go. All right. There's my treble crochet. Now we're going to do the next stitch next to it. Our front post treble crochet. And then we're going to, now we got to go backwards. So the 2 stitches that we skipped are right here. Okay, nothing's been done to them yet. We're going to work on this first skipped stitch right here. Boy, say that fast 3 times. Okay, right here, treble crochet. I've yarned over twice. And I do find I have to put my fingers on here because otherwise my loops come off my hook. So just a hint. And then I start to hold my crochet up here so that I have enough tension here to bring my hook through. Those are some little tricks that I do along the way. It's a very beautiful stitch, but I think it's a little bit tedious because you have to do all these little things. It's okay. It's a good one to watch TV with when once you get going. So we're going to go to this stitch here, the second skip stitch, yarn over. We insert our hook, yarn over, bring it through 2 loops, next 2, and the next 2. So now we have our 2 sets of stitches done. Now we've done these 2 stitches we've done already. We have to skip these, and then we're going to go and work on these. So yarn over twice, and we're going to do our front post treble crochet. There's a lot of front post treble crochet in this one. Really, your stitches are front post treble crochet, and your double crochet is at the end, and then your chain 3 is at the beginnings. And then the next row is going to be back post double crochet. So now I've yarned over twice already. See, it's just habit. I'm starting to do it before I even go there. These are the 2 stitches that are skipped. We're going to work on that stitch right there. Yarn over, bring it through, and I bring the yarn up just a smidge. Come through 2 loops and through 2 loops. Yarn over twice. Here's the last skip stitch right here. Okay, now we've already worked this. So here is 2 stitches I got to skip, and then 2 stitches I'm going to work, and there is 1 stitch left after that. That was the first 3 skip stitches. So we'll finish that in just a minute. So we're going to skip these and go over here, yarn over twice, and then do our front post treble crochet, yarn over twice, front post treble crochet. Then we have to go back to the stitches that we skipped, yarn over twice, go back to this stitch, yarn over twice. There's the next stitch. And sometimes as I get going, I'll even just push those stitches out because it's hard to get your hook in there sometimes. Oops, Now I only have to yarn over once, because now we're going to the top chain of the first 3 chains. So if this was not your first row, if this was row 4 and you were repeating row 2, it would be the top chain of your first chain 3, okay? So instead, this is the top chain of the first 3 chains that you skipped. Does that make sense? And we're just going to yarn over once and work a double crochet right in there. And row 2 is complete. Now, this is how it's looking. Now, I'm going to tell you, I like to look at the row before I go to the next one, because what I've sometimes done, I've sometimes stopped on these 2 stitches and forgot to go back. All of a sudden I just keep going, and then all of a sudden when I'm getting to the next row, you realize that you're missing these 2 stitches right here on the other side. So it's no fun to pull out a couple rows of stitches, especially when it's usually at the beginning of the row that you were working on previously. So anyway, that is row 2, okay? That's how it's looking. Here is the back side, and we're going to go ahead and work on this now for row 3. Okay, we're turning our work. This is how it looks on the back. We're going to go to row 3 now. Remember, our repeating rows are row 2 and 3. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, that counts as a double crochet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do back post treble crochets around the stitches. So we're going to yarn over twice. So this time we're going to start with the first 2 stitches. These, even though they were not the first 2 stitches before, in the second row they would have been the 3rd and 4th stitches. In this case, you look at them, they're over here in the first 2 stitch position, because we did 2 and then we went backwards. These are the ones that we went backwards to do. That makes the X. So we're considering these our first 2 stitches. Hopefully what I've just said makes sense. So we're going to do a back post treble crochet. So I find the best way is I really do have to hold my yarn, and you get some good tension with my finger. So however you hold your yarn, get a little bit of tension so it doesn't slip off your hook. Your loops don't. But you don't want to crochet real tight on this either. So we're going to insert the hook from the back to the front, like this. Yarn over, bring it through. And then I pulled it up a smidge, and we're going to yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through 2 loops, and yarn over, go through 2. First one's done. Yarn over twice. And then we're going to do another back post double crochet or treble crochet right there. Pull it through, pull it up a smidge, and then yarn over and go through the loops. Okay, now we're going to skip these 2 stitches right here. Skip stitch 3 and 4. Work on stitch 5 and 6 right here. Okay, so here's your next crisscross. These are the next stitches right here. So skip these 2. You've worked the first 2. Skip stitch 3 and 4. Work stitch 5 and 6 now. Yarn over twice. And then do the back post. Okay. Yarn over twice. And I always find that, because you don't want to go this way, you're going to lose that loop on there. You have to go this way. Does that make sense? You watching what I'm doing with my yarn there? Bring the yarn through and then go through the loops. Now we're going to go back to our 2 stitches that we skipped, but they're kind of tucked in there. So here's what I do. I yarn over twice, get my fingers in place, and then I push this out of the way. So now I have kind of more of a clear view of what I'm working on. And I can kind of push this forward a little bit too. Don't be afraid to pull and push and tug and whatever. It's going to be fine when you get done. So I'm going to put my finger here to hold it. And I remember the yarn, I don't want to go this way. I have to go this way to keep that yarn on the hook. Bring it around the back, right? See, I'm poking my yarn through, rolling over that post, and I'm going to grab my yarn, bring it through. There it is. And now I work my yarn. Oh, good Lord. Well, you might as well see it. There we go. 1, 2. I'm going too slow as a problem, I think. Okay, yarn over. You can do it again. Go through. Yarn over. Bring it through. And go through 2 loops, 2 loops, and 2 loops. Do it again. Yarn over twice. Now we have the very last stitch here in our crisscross left to do. And that one becomes easy. I always find that that one that I just did is the hardest one for me. Yarn over, bring our hook through the back. Yarn over, bring it through, and yarn over, and then finish off our treble crochet. All right. Now, we've worked, again, we've worked these stitches here, skip these stitches here. So our first ones going this way, right here, are the 2 we're going to work. So we're going to skip these 2, yarn over twice, do a back post, treble crochet here, and these don't give me much grief. It's just that one stitch is so tucked in there. And so that's what I meant when I said before, like tedious. You just got to take your time. So now I kind of pull it apart so I get that one. So otherwise, I sometimes tend to grab a different piece of yarn that I don't need to grab. And then there's my back post, treble crochet back post. And then we have one more. I'm going to go back to that one. The next one I had skipped, pardon me. Oh my goodness. It's all right. 1, 2. Gonna go tuck it back in. I'll show you what it looks like. See, now I had to put my finger up here to hold it so it wouldn't pull out. So that's how I'm looking now. Actually, I'm pulling it the other way. And now see the front, how my crosses are starting though? The back side, the crosses really don't show up much. You just see the little crisscrosses where you made. And on the end, you won't see the crisscross until you do the other side. Okay, so we still have another one to go. Yarn over twice. Okay, we've already worked this one here. So we're going to go all the way over here because we're skipping these 2. So we're going to these 2. And we're going to do a back post treble crochet. Yarn over twice. Back post treble crochet. Now go to the 2 skip stitches. See, I'm going to separate those out. Yarn over twice. And bring your yarn behind all of the work. And then help your hook through. And then finish your treble crochet. And then yarn over twice. And we still have this one here. This is the one we just worked. We still have this one hanging out here that we skipped. So we got to come up, poke our yarn back there. Here we go. And then we do our treble crochet. Now, we've worked this here. Here's 2 stitches sitting here. So we're going to work now a back post treble crochet on each, and then we're going to finish with a double crochet. Yarn over twice, and work the 2 back post treble crochets. And I'm going to show you how this is starting to look. And then we have one more. I oftentimes, if I have the yarn slip off, I just like to start that stitch over. Okay, there we go. And then yarn over, and then top chain, do a double crochet. And let me show you how this looks. So this is the back side. And so I kind of look, yep, the first 2 stitches, this should all look the same on both sides. And then we have the 3 little crisscrosses. Now let's turn it over. The front side, or I should say the even numbered rows, is where you see the magic. Here's your basket weave starting. Okay, that's all there is to it. So now what we would do if we did row 4 is a repeat of row 2. 1, 2, 3, yarn over twice. We skip these 2, we're going to come back to them. So in row 3, you always work the first 2 stitches, And in row 2, you always skip the first 2 stitches. So we're going to yarn over twice, and then we do our front post treble crochet. And so it's just a matter of, are you working with the front of it, the work, or the back of the work? See how much easier I can do the front post treble crochet? Now we're going to go back to the stitch that we skipped. Okay, I'll do one more. And that is one way too, if you can remember which way your stitches are, is the front post is front of your work is the front post treble crochet, and the back of the work is the back post treble crochet. But see, that's starting to take shape already. So that is how you start off row 4, just like you do row 2. I hope you've enjoyed this pattern. I will have, eventually I'll have that blanket on the website, but I will have, by the time that this is posted, I will have the free pattern all written up on the website, patternprincess.com, for how to do the stitches for this. And hopefully this tutorial has helped you, okay? Enjoy your crochet time and take care.